name's Halpin from Murphy Service. Just again, I think a lot has been said basically on common data environments, and I'm going to try and not repeat it. So I'm going to just give a quick breakdown on the company background, and then come at the common data environment from a different angle. Just a few brief comments, our own experiences dealing with CDEs. Again, some of our generic just BIM hardware and software and processes that we use, our input into a BIM project, benefits of CDEs, and again from our point of view, using large data in terms of scans, information handling, and generic coordination of this through a CDE. So I'll try and fly through this and keep it pretty snappy. Again, just a quick breakdown who we are. 30 years in business. We have a lot of different survey types. 8 offices across the UK and Ireland, so we provide services in a lot of different areas. A lot of highly trained staff, and we have a lot of BIM models produced and a lot of surveys completed. As you can see here in the bottom right. And just to keep moving on, experience and expertise, cutting edge technologies, cost effective in terms of the scanners. I think I'll just try and go straight through this pretty quickly. Some of the accreditations, ISO 9001, we're linked with different organisations, Institution of Surveyors in Ireland, and again some of our global business partners, ranging from Intermap, Geodata, Euclidean as well in Australia, and we're doing a lot more with them now as well. And again, using point clouds, using models, a lot quicker, enable us to use data to get the information we want, and to render things. So we're using a lot of these different partners with their different various software types to help us and to provide different solutions to different clients. Again, some of the clients, they range pretty much everyone across the board. Some of them are in this room, many aren't, but you recognise all the names up there. Again, I'll go through, like, there's a lot of survey types we do, but to focus more in particular on BIM, HD laser scanning, as-built surveys, that's more my focus. But we do an awful lot of different types of surveys, and what we're doing now is from a BIM side, people will know the Murphy brand, whereas now we're pushing a lot of our BIM services through MSL BIM solutions, so we're now trying to provide one solution, but we're coming at it from a few different angles and a few different service types, but we're going to mold that essentially into one product, to provide whatever a client needs. Again, from the hardware point of view, a lot of different types of hardwares. I mean, we're moving from theodolites, all the old stuff, into pretty high-tech environments that require high-tech kit. Just a range of types of scanners we use, everything from Leica to ZNFs to the one on the right here is the portable one. We can use them for, again, detecting metal, detecting rebar. It's handheld, you can go along parts of buildings really quickly and detect accurate positioning for rebar. There's all types of products coming on the market. We're trying to use every single bit we can, test it out, use it in the field, and then provide it as a solution to clients. Various BIM services, BIM capture, we're involved in BIM to field, BIM audit. I mean, most of these terms, I'm sure you all recognise them in different varying degrees. I think using the term BIM sometimes gives a bit of a, people take it up in a different sense. I mean, I prefer to call it, just information management. Essentially, people confuse BIM, with certain vendors, with certain types of products. And I know it's up here, but I think I try to more focus on information as such. Moving on, this is what it looks like. A lot of different data we try to capture. We're using scanners. It's rapid data collection to define tolerances. The speed that you can do this at is the key. It's safe, it's scalable. We've a lot of different tailored deliverables through laser scanning. And if anyone hasn't seen some point cloud images, here's a couple. Again, a lot of experience working with laser scanning technology, but I think what's a bit more key is that we use our own in-house workflows. Without those workflows, they can be quite noisy. A lot of point cloud scans, so we use to different workflows to try and clean that, to get it noise free and to get it down to really, really tight tolerances, below 3 mil accuracies. It takes a lot of work, but it's taken a lot of time to develop these workflows as well. Again, what we're trying to do with BIM to Field, bringing models to site, building with confidence and accuracy, live on-site checking as you build. I mean, I could do a whole different presentation on this, but I'm just going to go through it just to give an idea of how we work. On-site as you build, it enables immediate model checking and updating through a variety of different softwares and different total stations, different scanners, different techniques, but it's very doable. We have the software and the hardware to do it. It's something we're doing a lot more on over the last couple of years, but we're producing isometric drawings, different deliverables, and again live on-site clash collision check. But for us, and I suppose in the grain of this presentation, CDE is being integral to this process, especially considering the size of the data that we can gather now and the speed that we can gather this data at. I definitely think there's a focus too much on other elements rather than the instant data that we can actually gather, rather than waiting for certain model deliverables. Like, we can provide lots of different solutions, lots of different information types based on our scans that just isn't requested, required, or used. And there's a lot of different ways we can use this data. I'll just touch on that now a little later as well. It's just some brief images. Point clouds, we're using different images in point clouds to produce final models. Very generic workflows there, but I think you get the idea of how it's put together. Again, it enables fast, accurate as-builts. You can measure, model hundreds of piping components. Again, that's all dependent on very detailed scanning. If you don't have detailed scanning, or you don't clean it out, you end up with large voids. You can't get your extraction, you can't get your detailed piping components then based on that. But to improve safety, off-space models read quality data quickly. The whole process is sped up, and what we're trying to do is get away from slowly checking and manually inputting data. So we're trying to extract data quickly and to produce deliverables based on this accurate data. Again, just some quick images of what a BIM audit for us on some previous projects have been. Lots of these kind of images showing design, model data. You could do this all day essentially on every single part of the building, and we're trying not to, we've moved away from manually doing this stuff to trying to do it more automatically. There's various software out there now that are helping us to automatically do this, but again, a lot of it isn't requested. It's not part of any of our clients' requirements. I think the more we meet clients now, we're also pushing this as a deliverable now. It enables us to verify our data and enables the client to be more sure of the data they're getting. And again, I mean, the benefits are there. You can guarantee accurate field fit before components or equipment is fabricated and shipped to site. That's a big goal of this. And reducing modelling resources in office QA and QC requirements. And again, a couple of examples of clash detection on various projects. Pretty much anything to do with on-site data, we can gather all this information in a variety of ways, and then into asset management again, heritage projects. There's a lot of outputs to data that we can use as well. So I'll just push that through. Again, types of software that's integrated. Now, we're primarily using Revit because our clients are asking us to use Revit. We use a lot of different software types. Point clouds, we're using anything from Recap, Cyclone, Euclidean now as well. Euclidean has its own benefits. We're now trying to push, for instance, new ways of getting this information. On-site jobs, for fast-track jobs, for instance, on-site. The ability to draw in 3D over point cloud with real-time and simultaneous update of line work in a separate CAD drawing. This reduces duplication for us. It's immediate, and we would see this as a critical measurement tool and as a pre-deliverable. The waiting for models for us, it can take weeks. Clients often want different types of information. Some clients want a full model. Some involved on a project just want key measurements. They want soffit measurements. They want certain certain heights, we can give that as a pre-deliverable. But again, putting this in EIRs, putting this in information drops, setting all this out in a strategy for us is key. What we find is that this stuff can be provided, but it's too late in the day when it's actually asked. And again, the more we test this kind of software, the more we can offer solutions and come up with new solutions for our clients. The more communication we have with clients before a job, we can suggest all these different types. For us, we often get just, we need a model. But then when the model is issued, critical measurements could have been issued 2 weeks before that. That has held up a project. So for us, there's lots of different ways that we can use a point cloud to give information. It's not always just producing models. So I'll push through just a variety of different tools we have for on-site jobs. Now, just to come back to common data environments, I think from a surveying point of view, we've all seen the generic description of it. Typical construction project, a large amount of information is produced, and for us, we're certainly big players in this, producing massive amounts of data. I think the biggest problem is that it's scattered, unstructured, hard to find. Now, this has been covered in the previous ones in organising data better than what we currently do. And according to PAS, a platform for collecting, managing, sharing information online, whether it's cloud-based or otherwise. And some of the previous vendors as well, there's been solutions offered. They're all good tools. Very little of it is specified currently, I think, which is a problem. Some projects are very good for us in terms of setting out CDEs, setting out ways of sharing information. Other projects are very, very poor. One-liners and paragraphs on, we just need this deliverable. I think there's a huge disparity at the moment in this country in terms of some people using CDEs, some people using PAS correctly, and others not using it at all, or they think they're using it, but they're not using it at all really. It's just part of a contract document. And for us, I think it leads to a lot of confusion. We have a lot of data that we can give a client in a variety of formats, and it's not always a 10 gigabyte scan. It can be certain measurements based on a scan. But all this needs to be set out. But waiting for models for us is a problem. More focused information drops for us is a key. Just pushing on. We've seen this graph a million times now, so I won't go through the explanation of the graph itself, only to say really that the gates are the important aspects. They're the controllable aspects, I think, for us as well on a project. We often we upload data occasionally to certain CDEs. The stuff is never checked. It's checked by us, but it's not commented on. We receive no feedback on it. I think for us, management of a CDE is very important on the other side. And it's something I'll just mention now briefly after this as well. Information is authorised or not, allowing to be hosted and shared by a single entity across the project. That's very important. I mean, it's been stated by all the previous speakers as well. A single source of information provides greater control over revisions. Now, the host of a CDE can vary at different stages. This is something we came across in the document. But again, ideally, it's set up by the client. It maintains control throughout the life cycle. But for asset and FM purposes downstream, we've come across CDEs whereby it's been partly used and been set up by one client, but then later on in the project where it has come around again in a year or two where we're asked to do a rescan, the whole structure has changed. There is no CDE now being used, and a client just wants direct deliverables. For us, that information, most of it was already part of the CDE previously. It's not currently used anymore, and the time spent finding this data again to redeliver it is a waste of energy on, by all parties, essentially. I think consistency in setting up these CDs throughout the life cycle, throughout the chain of ownership, for instance, is another key aspect of it for us. We come back on projects years down the road as well. Well after it's been constructed and built, we're asked to do rescans and to do more scans years down the line. And for us, that consistency in the CD is very, very important. It's not there currently, I think, for the most part. feedback based on different data. No one seems to be, on a lot of these projects, actually controlling CDE properly as a single point of contact. It is done on some projects, but it's not done on a lot of projects. That's more confusing for us, and it's just time delays in getting information and duplicating this information. See the usage downstream again. Traditionally, headache. I mean, we've mentioned before the box of drawings in the corner. This has happened so many times. Those questions below come up every single time, and invariably one of them is a no, essentially. Can't find information. Floods have happened. Things have been damaged, and you'd be amazed at the amount of drawings that are still left there. Even in this current age when we can digitize this information, it's just left there. Okay. Collation and extraction problems exist. I think consistent and maintained CDs, are, again for us, is a big issue. And again, I've mentioned change of ownerships and tracking down information for, again, design teams, surveyors, FM crews. Consistently maintained CDs, I think, go a long way in helping this. We've seen this diagram now already as well, and for us, I think a lot of people focus on, and it's a bit greyed out there, but on the right, documentation, non-graphical data, graphical model. I think a lot of people focus on only one of those aspects, or possibly two. I think there's not enough focus in a common data environment currently in this country on information across the board, on all the information that is possible on a project. And we can certainly give plenty of information, it's just not used. I think from our point of view as well, surveyors, we now kind of act more like data managers and information managers rather than the surveyors with the levels and the poles. Again, through laser scanning and information models, component data, anything to animations and interactive fly-throughs. There's so much information we can produce really, really quickly to a client that isn't part of a CDE. For the most part, it's not required, and for some of it, it's just on a hard drive left in a corner. Personally, I think we can add a lot more data to CDEs on large projects, whether it's geometric, textual information, and it's instant. I mean, that's the key word here. I think it's instant information. We don't have to wait for that one deliverable, a set of drawings or a model that might take 2 weeks to build. We can give you instant information straight away if it's part of a deliverable. If we can deliver this into a CDE, it can be used, measured. I mean, I think the interpretation or the perception out there is that these things are too big. They're not too big. There's many ways we can give you the information. We can host it, we can send links, we can do it in a variety of formats to give you the information you need from a scan, where you can scan around like in Street View, measure. It's not just about true views, we can send links through web browsers in other formats. There's many ways to do this. I think getting that into clients' heads for us, that we can provide instant information, and that's not just something that's left in a corner or delivered on a hard drive, you know, in 2 weeks in the post kind of a thing. All this information we can give a client. I think that's, from our point of view, that's the biggest thing with common data environments, that we're not asked to provide the information we can provide, and we can provide so much more of it. Information, again, no longer used for a single purpose, and I think just going to probably wrap it up. Again, massive and rapid data capture as part of the CD process on typical projects. For us, we can do this on many projects, and we're not asked to, but for us, it doesn't just help us, it helps the client as well, getting that information, and it's instantly usable. Provides many functions, and there's many ways to view this stuff. Streamlining staging of information drops, I think, is key to this. And I think that's pretty much. Implementing a strategy, I think, is key to this. It can be everything from a set of 4 folders, as mentioned, to some of the vendors mentioned already, A-Site, everything from Google Drive, Dropbox, can be internal, it can be online. Data security we mentioned, but I think I came across this interesting stat that 88% of breaches are internal and not external. And for us, I think people focus on external firewalls. They don't focus enough on access to information within an organisation, who has permissions. I mean, it's been mentioned already, controlling information through permissions is the way to go, both internally and externally. I just put up this because I think in terms of CDEs, this is commonplace, and some of the problems with it, lack of CDs on the left, no one wants to change their way of doing something, and that's the single biggest thing that a CDE tries to change. You may know where it is, but no one else knows where it is. And for us, getting this right is key.